2026. Every block, every ballot, every voice. This ain't left or right. This is right now. OVC. Teachers shaping minds. Vets who stood strong. Gig workers hustling just to get along. Parents, elders, first-time voters in line. Same clock ticking, same moment in time. No dark money whispers. No backroom deals. Daylight choices and the truth that's real. Labels don't own us. We bigger than signs. Accountability lives where democracy thrives.
Our vote counts. Yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard. We don't play no games. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United we found. Our vote counts. Stand tall, no doubt. Integrity first. Let the people speak loud. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United
Clear
we
facts, no
found.
spin. Education unlocked. Breaking down the process from the door to the box. Who earns the trust? Who shows up to serve? Asking the questions. Leaders got nerves. Neighborhoods talking. Town halls packed. Local voices first. Yeah, we built it like that. Different faiths, views, so walking as one. Democracy stronger when we all get it done. Yeah.
Our vote counts, yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard. We don't play no games. From coast to coast, let the movement expand. Power in the people, future in our hands. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. When we show up informed, that's what it's all about. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. When we show up informed, that's what it's all about.
This ain't no cycle. Nah, this is a standard. Long-term vision. Principles planned from schools to the boards up to the higher seats. We connect the dots from the block to the streets. Peaceful power, respect and demand. Integrity measured by actions, not plans. OVC active, participation mounts. When the people stand ready, turnout counts. Yeah.
Our vote counts, yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard. We don't play no games. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United we found. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. Integrity first. Let the people speak loud. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United we found.
Every voice,
Every voice,
every vote.
every vote.
Integrity, inclusion, accountability. OVC.
OVC.
2026. My vote counts. And so does yours.
Whoop, whoop. How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Sianca. I will be your host. Yes, Ayana. Yes, I said, I'm just gonna let it down some. Happy Black History Month. As you see my lovely background here. Shout out to Miss Thick and to the OVC crew. I am your host, like I said before, Sianca. So we're going to be speaking with Zelda Briarwood, who is running for North Carolina House of Representative in District 11. And that's like on the west side of North Carolina. I am located on the east side, like on the east coast of North Carolina. Hey, everybody. So we're going to be having a good time. She is an amazing, to me, a testimony, really. But to go to what part of Western North Carolina, you have Avery County, you have Avery County, you have Buncombe, Cherokee, Clay, Graham, Haywood, Henderson, Jackson, Macon, Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Swain, Transylvania, Yancey, portions of Polk County. So it's a big, huge area there um, in District 11 of North Carolina. So if you're in that district, welcome, welcome, welcome. If not, welcome still. Please share it out. Yes. Like the live. Let's tap that screen. Tap it. It's clapping. Come on, let's go. And also share it out. Share it out to everybody. They do not have to be from North Carolina. They could be from anywhere, even around the world. Let's show them what we're trying to do here. We're trying to give people an opportunity to be educated on what's going on in the world and what's going on in their area. Because I believe, and I think OVC believe, A from DC, wherever you're from, put it in the chat. Let me know. Let OVC know where you're tuning in from. So, like I said, I'm tuning in from North Carolina, NC. We have DC in here. We may have some other states in here. Put it in the chat. Thank you for the gifts. Do that. Heart me up there if you haven't. And also, there's a gift goal up there. Some sweet roses in there. 10 of them. Indiana, Texas. All right. Oh, my exes live in Texas. Okay. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, we believe to do this to educate people on what's going on in their area. I'm a firm believer. Oh, Maryland in the house. I'm a firm believer of knowing your local community, knowing who is running Africa higher levels, knowing what's going on in your area, like your roads, your property taxes, and all these most important things. If you want to have your county or your city upgrade, update it a bit, having some income coming in, booming the economy, all those great things. So that's why we do this, and that's why I love being a part of this team. Shout out to OVC. So the population, believe it or not, in District 11 is 760,000 to 770,000 residents. All right. Their median age is 45 to 46. Let's see. The racial, they're here. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Blessings. Let's bring our person up here. Let's see if I can find her. There you are. There she is. Zelda!
Hello.
How are you?
I am well. I apologize. This is my first Facebook Live, so I'm connected using audio only at this moment. How do I fix that?
Okay, so are you on your phone?
I am.
Okay, good. So you see that little camera?
Yeah,
Click on that.
it is not live access needed to go live on video as guest.
Oh, let me see if I can can I give her powers, or can OVC give her powers to turn her camera on? I still haven't let you.
Not seeing anything yet.
Okay, so she doesn't have access to join video. Macam all, how many of those folks actually vote and not? I really do not know, and that is a great question. That is a very great question. Whoopsie, I didn't mean to do that to myself. OVC, can you give her camera access, or can somebody give her camera access that way we can see her beautiful face? But if not, we can still have this go on. No, you don't? Okay. If not, is it okay? OVC, that she didn't go on, correct? because I don't want I'm so interested in yeah, she doesn't have video access. Yeah, her account. Okay, cool. So we can still go on, Miss Zelda. We can
Okay.
still do this. You know what? Everybody, please like, share, give out some gifts to me. Thank you so much, but also gift Miss Zelda down here and OVC, well, that way, OVC as well. Come and join us. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us, Miss Zelda. Just to give a
Absolutely.
little bit of a background about you, I found this. Congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you.
Congratulations. When I read this, I was like, wow. So
Oh,
Zelda
thanks, y'all.
Briarwood, Secretary of the Haywood County Young Dems, lives in Canton, North Carolina. While working in Western North Carolina, she earned degrees in psychology and outdoor recreation at University of South Carolina. My husband's from South Carolina, so shout out to South Carolina. Um,
Yes.
and adventure-based psychotherapy and adventure education at Prescott College. After conquering her own addictions over 6 years, she pays it forward as a positive change to help others when she's not engaged in advocacy or community events. I found this very amazing. She enjoys playing, wait a minute, Dungeons and Dragons and Magic. Wow. Okay, The Gathering, watching the late great Bob Ross, who is one of my favorite painters as well, and mixing music. So you have a bit of a, I like that. I love it. I so love it. And your incumbent is Chuck Edwards,
That is
correct?
correct.
All right, cool. So I'm going to give you the floor and tell us, who is Zelda Briarwood and why is she running for the U.S. House of Representative of North Carolina in District 11?
Absolutely. It is a pleasure to be here and to have this opportunity to do this town hall with y'all. You alluded to it a little bit. I have a background in public health, social services, direct services, and education. But on top of that, I'm a member of the working class. I have been my entire life. And I think it's worth mentioning that if there's anyone who knows the value of a dollar, especially today's day and age, it's going to be the working class folks. And what really stood out for me was that when we look at Congress right now, I don't see that representation. I really don't. I can think of what, maybe 5 people who actually have come up from a working class background. And it's kind of hypocritical in my eyes for legislators to be making decisions on our behalf when they do not have any lived experience that reflects that. It's either that or they just don't care, which is the worst of the two. So I'm running as someone who wants to be held accountable. I'm running as someone who values honesty, integrity, and willingness to change. I'm someone who values what it means to be a public servant. And I really want to actually represent the people of Western North Carolina rather than just get their vote and then choose not to represent from there.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for that input and being vulnerable. I love your story so much because you're being vulnerable and you are part of society, because once when people find out your demons per se, it's like, okay, now, no, we can't deal with that. No, yes, you can, because there are real people who deal with demons every day, no matter what their vice is, and I really thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that with us through your biography when we read your page and things of that nature. We're going to take it a little higher now. We're going to introduce it to you know, give you a gist of what OVC is. But before I do that, Macklemore brought up a good point. So, are you familiar with Stranger Things?
Oh, yes.
There you go, Mac. Yes. So, I want to welcome everybody to our Vote Counts TikTok Live Town Hall. I am your moderator, Sianca. And Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds, united by a shared commitment to empowering voters and promoting candidates who stand for integrity, like Ms. Zelda here, inclusion and accountability in the upcoming elections, formed by a collective of educators, veterans, small business owners, students, and community advocates. Our Vote Counts represents the strength of unity across geography, race, and ideology. While our stories are different, our mission is the same. So to ensure that every voice is heard and every vote fully counts. Our Vote Counts is more than a name. It's a promise, a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. Together, we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. Sorry, I'm so nervous. I get nervous when I'm on camera. So
I can't tell you how to feel. You're doing amazing work. You're doing an amazing job. And I am so excited to be here.
well, thank you. Thank you. Shout out to OVC. So tonight, once again, we're joined by Ms. Zelda Briarwood. So we're gonna start off with something like kind of break the ice a little bit.
Sure.
So back in the day when you were growing up,
Mhm.
you turn on the TV, you watch cartoons, or you watch your favorite show. What was your favorite show where you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be like this person because this person is blah, 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 blah. And then you grow up and you're like, you get that nostalgia again when you see that same cartoon or the same show. So do you have a character that you're influenced by or that you want to be in a fantasy world?
I loved Kim Possible growing up.
I love Kim Possible.
It is not often that we actually see, female heroines painted in a positive light.
Yes.
And watching that in my formative years was so magical to actually see someone who was not only, fighting the good fight, but looking awesome doing it. And on top of that, having the acrobatics necessary for it. It was so inspiring.
Wow. Now I gotta go, man. I had to go fish for some Kim Possible video. I love that. Wow, that's amazing. And it's so funny of me being 45 and I hear these different cartoons. I'm like, man, I remember those days. Oh, I remember that. And it's just like that same common ground that we all should have together. You know,
I would say
so divisive, you know.
For sure. I would also say as I got towards my teenage years, that shifted from Kim Possible to Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Highly recommend it. But
okay.
She is a person of color, and she stood up against blatant discrimination that existed within the cultures in Avatar.
Okay.
Full disclosure to y'all, I am not used to the algo speak, so I have a list in front of me of what I'm allowed to say instead, and I'm trying not
Thank you.
to, mess that on up. But yeah, Katara stood against the status quo and, oppressive cultures in the Water Tribe, as well as over in the Earth Kingdom and in the Fire Nation. And she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing.
Okay, I got to write that down. That's going to be on my watch list as well. So, can you tell us what's the responsibility of the House of Representatives? Because I know we all know about introducing and voting on federal legislation, but can you give us a little bit more of a detail what you'll be responsible for when you be elected?
I would say it's threefold. Number one is to represent adequately the people, the constituents. Number two is advocacy, because not only do you need to represent, but you also need to be able to advocate for marginalized communities. And the third one is education. A part of what I see a lot when we look at people up in Capitol Hill is they'll get their talking points from, the powers that be, whether it be the party bosses, whether it be their donors, but don't actually go into the explanation of why they chose to vote in one direction or another. And that does a disservice to their constituents. I think that as representatives, if we are going to vote for something that may not necessarily be a majority agreement for constituents, the representative is responsible for explaining as best as possible where that decision is coming from. If we're looking at North Carolina, I think a fantastic example is Jeff Jackson. He does an amazing job of having a face-to-face, person-to-person conversation that does not come across as him telling you what to do.
Right.
It seeks to inform. And an informed electorate is the strongest defense that we have to maintaining a democracy.
Absolutely. And thank you for explaining that, because it actually helped me make more sense of it. Because, we only see it on C-SPAN, or what have you, or what
Mm-hmm.
we see on camera, but we don't see what you guys do behind the scenes, and for you to be that conduit and that buffer
Mm-hmm.
between the public and the federal government. Would you
Definitely.
say
And
that? Mhm.
yeah, and that's one of the other issues that I look at when I look up at Capitol Hill. How often are, the average citizen looking at bills, acts, proposed legislation, and are able to comprehend what it is trying to say?
Right.
It's very difficult when everything is in legalese or legislative jargon,
Hmm.
and not having that sense of every single person should be able to read this and understand what is in this bill.
Absolutely. Because we
So
need it in layman's terms. Because we have there's an attorney in the chat, Miss Ayana, and she lays it out. She puts it in layman's terms for a newborn baby to understand.
love it.
Because like us, we don't talk legalism,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. So I thank you for explaining that. So we're gonna go into healthcare. So we have like 6 categories, and then we're gonna do like a little bit of a rapid fire politically, and then at the end we're going to do some fun rapid fire. That sounds fair?
I am ready to go. Let's do this.
All right. Yes, Ayana. Yes, she's blushing, but she's amazing. She's so amazing. So our first category is healthcare. So, many counties in Western North Carolina are considered healthcare provider shortage areas, and about
Mhm.
13% of residents in the district live below the poverty line. So, how would you, as a member of Congress, work to expand access to affordable healthcare in rural mountain communities? Now, mind you, I'm in North Carolina, but I'm on the east side.
Mhm.
I'm on the coast. So, how would you expand access to affordable healthcare in your community?
The United States spends more than any other country on healthcare. It's about $2,000 more per person, yet despite this, our life expectancy is lower, our mortality rate is lower, our likeliness of succumbing to disease is lower. It makes no sense to me where we live in, quote unquote, the richest, greatest country in the world, but we can't even take care of our citizens adequately. When we first started this campaign, we have been doing what is called a community-centered campaign. We spent 7 months traveling the district, talking with constituents about what their needs, wants, and expectations are, and we built our platform from there. It's not my agenda. It's not the agenda of any party. It is what the people of Western North Carolina have been advocating for. I mention this because at first, people did express some apprehension towards universal health care. But with everything that we have seen happen in the last year, the popularity for universal health care has skyrocketed. And if we look at the rest of the world population, 69% of the world population already has access to universal health care. It makes no sense that we are way behind when it comes to this. On top of that, let's look at insurance companies. If we look at insurance companies, they don't actually provide goods and services. Their sole purpose is profit. They don't expand access. They don't lower costs. They don't make it easier on our behalf. There are certain industries that should not be based off of profiting on people's suffering. And I believe that healthcare is one of those. So, how will I expand access? I am currently doing a meta-analysis and systemic review of universal healthcare systems in other countries. Specifically, I'm focusing on the European Union right now. I'm compiling all of that. And when I get to Congress, I will be working with other colleagues who have proposed meaningful healthcare legislation and reform, so that way we can bring universal health care to everyone in our country, not just the people in Western North Carolina. I also want to make sure that we are expanding access to rural clinics. It was one of the first things that I learned when I went all the way out to Murphy, is that they don't want more hospitals per se. They want more clinics that are available, so that way people don't have to drive 2 hours to get to the nearest VA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm also a disabled veteran as well. My husband's still in the military, so I know exactly how that is. And
thank you for your service and
you're
for his.
welcome. You're welcome. And I'm such a geeky nerd when it comes down to healthcare, because I have a degree in health informatics, and we had to do how our healthcare here is in the United States, and then how it fights, versus how it is in the world. And it's not like this just happened. This has been going on for years, and it's really, really sad that we're still having this power struggle of who wants the reins,
It very much is. Fun fact, did you know that the first country to establish universal health care was Germany?
Really?
This was back in the 1800s. And
wow.
I need to be very calculated on how I say this, but if we're going to be aspiring to certain aspects of German culture, I think that that's probably one we should be setting our sights on versus some of the other ones that we are currently seeing happening in our country.
Right. I'm reading between the lines. I got you. I got you.
Please continue to hold me accountable. I do not want to mess up the algorithms here.
You're good. You're good. So, speaking of veterans, so Western North Carolina has a higher than average veteran population, and many veterans there live in rural counties,
Hmm.
far from the VA facility, and this is like
Oh,
all over
yes.
the United States. So, how will you, as a member of Congress, work to improve access to VA healthcare and mental health services closer to home?
Excellent question. I've traveled the district for a good while now. As an example, my first year of traveling this district, I put 25,000 miles on my car. That's how
Goodness.
big it is because it's very
Yes.
mountainous and it's not a straight shot to one place or another. Um, as I alluded to a little bit in the previous answer, when I go out to the rural areas, they want to know that they're going to be able to access those clinics without having to travel 2 hours to
Mhm.
get to the nearest VA hospital. So, outside of expanding access to clinics, making sure that telehealth is much more of a universally accessible aspect of our healthcare system.
Mhm.
The other thing that I would love to see happen is relying more on mass transit. We
Mm.
have railroads that go all through Western North Carolina.
Yes.
And once upon a time, they were for commercial use, not just privatized.
Right.
When we have people in Western North Carolina that live in rural areas, being able to get from point A to point B is contingent upon if you have a car or if you have someone that can drive you.
Mhm.
And when you are in crisis, having to drive that 2 hours to get over to the VA hospital, that can be, you know, the matter of life
Yes.
and unlife.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
just want to make sure that people have access to those rural clinics that are readily available, that they are not going to lose funding because a government agency is gutted on a whim,
Mhm.
and that they have means of getting from point A to point B that don't necessarily rely on automobiles 100% of the time.
Absolutely. I didn't even think of the trains um in the area because me and my husband we had to go through there to go to Tennessee
Hmm.
um as a family trip, and we seen a whole lot of railroads, and we even have railroads here, but it's
Hmm.
not used. And when it is used, all you see these big, those big, huge cargo or military
Hmm.
equipment or oil or whatever. I don't ever see a passenger thing unless you go out downtown Fayetteville, whatever like that. But you don't see it in other places. And you're right. There are a lot of people who don't drive, and they got to look for Uber, which is expensive. Again, it
Hmm.
can be expensive, you
Especially if you're
know.
trying to drive 2 hours.
Right. Right, and to give you guys an outlook of how long you poor soul, Avery County, Buncombe, right? Is that what it's
Bunkum.
pronounced? Buncombe, Cherokee, Clay, Graham, Hayward, Henderson, Jackson, Macon, Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Swain, Transylvania, Yancey, portions of that's a lot. That is a lot. Yeah.
It definitely is. And it was very daunting when I first started traveling. My day job is making sure that bank equipment is set up and ready to go. So
Mhm.
I service ATMs, vaults, cash counters. I spent a lot of time traveling, especially after Helene, working 60-hour days for 3 straight months, going to our towns that had no access to the internet,
Right.
no access to any of the standard systems that we've come accustomed to, and making sure that people could get cash out so they could still get food and water and patron small businesses as they were struggling to continue to have, a livelihood after Helene.
Right. And that was a terrible storm. It was terrible. We thought we was gonna get hit because I live Fayetteville and Rayford. I'm in that crack in the road, and it's Fayetteville, it's Rayford. We're like the red stepchild, so they don't consider us anything on either side. But we thought we was gonna get most of the hit. But I was really shocked to hear on the Asheville side and the west side that you guys got hit really bad. And in our hearts to you guys. We're gonna move on to social programs.
Sounds good.
So many families in this district live in areas with limited childcare options, especially in rural counties. So what federal investments or policy changes do you support to expand affordable childcare and early learning programs in mountain communities? I never even thought about this because it is very mountainous up there. I mean, a lot of mountains and the roads are crazy. So
We live in one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world. We actually share a mountain range with, the Scotland countryside. That's how long that mountain chain is.
yes.
And, since it's not, connected anymore, we've moved past, Pangea and everything. But even with older mountains, which tend to be a little bit more hilly than the jagged ones that we think about, like over in the Rocky Mountains, it's still a lot of traveling and a lot of switchbacks and serpentining through areas. And that's also assuming that the roads are open. We don't have the infrastructure to be able to provide the salting and everything that's necessary to keep everything going. I grew up outside of Philly. I'm used to having plowed roads and having that salted 3 days in advance and everything. It's not, they are doing that as best as they can, but the infrastructure is not there.
Right.
To your question, what will I do to expand access to childcare? I believe that no one should have to get a second job just to pay for childcare. I think that we are officially at the point where we can integrate pre-K into the public school system and have it available so that everyone who is, utilizing that aspect of our education system has access to it. You don't have to pay extra for it. It would be built into the system. And that way, people can spend more time with their family. I was talking to a mother on Tuesday who was telling me how she works at McDonald's on the weekends, third shift, so that way she can pay for childcare and still be able to be a part of her kids' lives during the day. And while that is so admirable, and I applaud this mother for doing something that hard, she shouldn't have to. So, Macklemore, wouldn't that increase the cost of schools, hiring, spacing needing? Excellent question. To which we already tax Americans on a regular basis. Where we decide to put the money is the question that I think that we need to be asking ourselves. Do we need to be putting it towards the military industrial complex and, continuously having these forever conflicts that have plagued a lot of us since we were children? Or do we spend that money on the people here in the United States?
Mm.
We already bring in a large amount from taxation. I think that reprioritizing American people should be our priority first and foremost. There's no reason that it shouldn't be.
Absolutely. There's another question. Is Boone and Grandfather Mountain in your district?
Boone and Grandfather Mountain. Boone is right outside of it.
Oh, sorry, Miss Nikki is outside.
Yep.
And also to follow up, so what about early learning programs as well in mountain communities?
We have seen the gutting of the Department of Education. We have seen what I would consider to be, I think I can say this one, a psyop
Mm.
against education since the 80s. And because of that, we now have constituents and an electorate that does not have access to the same information that you and I grew up with when it comes to civics, when it comes to what our government is supposed to do, when it comes to history. I firmly believe that investing in our schools requires making sure that we are raising teacher pay, making sure that our schools are properly funded so that way teachers are not paying out of pocket in order to provide supplies for their students. I think that we need to provide free school meals to all of our students. If they're required to be there, we should be required to feed them. When we start actually valuing education again and provide the foundation necessary for schools to not only inform parents and kids, but also screen ahead of time so that way students with learning disabilities or students in adverse childhood systems are able to get the support that they need early on. I also am a fan of public charter schools, assuming that they have to follow the same standards that we would expect out of any other public school. I think that having access to specific types of education that work better for people with special needs is invaluable. Not everyone is going to be able to thrive in the public school system that we built from No Child Left Behind. It's not set up for learning. It's set up for regurgitating facts and doing well on test scores rather than actual critical thinking and understanding where we've been so we don't have to go there again.
I'm so happy. We're gonna go into education later on. I'm so happy you picked up on that because I came from that generation where it was just test scores.
Yeah.
Forget about everything else. As long as you can top this test scores, you're good. And that's why we're in an America, me personally, I think, today. That's what I personally believe. But we're gonna put a pin in that for a little bit.
Sounds good.
So after natural disasters, this is really important for me to ask you because, like I said, what happened in Asheville. So after natural disasters and economic disruptions like Hurricane Helene, residents often rely on FEMA and other federal assistance. How will you ensure disaster relief and recovery programs are faster and more responsive to rural communities in Western North Carolina. And the reason why I keep saying rural communities, people, is because it's more mountainous than on my side on the East Coast. You know, and y'all, and they gotta drive careful going through the mountains. Correct, Zelda?
Very true. We have a lot of people that come down here to live here, which, you know, my family moved from outside of Philly to New York to down to south of Charlotte. It happens. People tend to, you know, move based off of jobs and everything. Our major city is Asheville. Outside of that, it's a lot of small towns. So let's talk about Helene recovery. Historically, let's look at Sandy in 2012. They received 78% of the money requested to pay for the damages. Katrina in 2005 got 23%. Maria in 2017 was 73%. Matthew in 2016 was 53%. And Irma in 2017 was 32%. For the people of Western North Carolina, specifically with Helene, we have requested 48% of the funds be covered. Out of $60 billion in damages, we have received about 8% from the federal government. The money
8%?
that, yeah, 8%, because it's being used as a political football and a means of scoring points and a topic for groveling rather than supporting people when they are in a disaster zone and are going to be in a disaster zone for years afterwards.
Yep.
Our current Congressman, Chuck Edwards, he is on the House Appropriations Committee. And to keep it as simple as I possibly can, the House Appropriations Committee decides where the funds are going to be going. He promised us $50 billion. We got about maybe 5. That's not leadership, it's failure.
Right.
So what will I do? I will work with Josh Stein, Jeff Jackson, and hopefully future Senator Roy Cooper to bring a statistically accurate proposal to the House Appropriations Committee, which won't have Congressman Edwards on it anymore, and demand that we cut the crap and get the funding that we need in order to rebuild. I will prioritize investments in climate resilient infrastructure, which will bring tens of thousands of good paying union jobs to our area that can't be outsourced or given on over to AI. And last but not least, I will lead an audit of FEMA where we will find the bureaucratic red tape, address its failings, and make sure that every single pending application is ruled with ample evidence provided for any denied applications. To expand on the application aspect of this a little bit. So there is the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Out of 800 applications that were submitted, 600 finally made it to FEMA HQ desk to be signed off on. To date, none of them have been approved.
Wow.
We still have people that are in houses that have active mold growing in them, but they're terrified of leaving because it's their home. They're worried that the second that they leave, someone is going to come in and tell them they can't live there anymore.
Right.
And we have so much culture here. We have such old growth. Again, it's one of the oldest places in the world. It
And
breaks
it's a
my
beautiful
heart.
place.
It is. And it breaks my heart to see people actively going through suffering and us not doing anything about it. Another example that I can give you is when we had the active FEMA director on the ground in Rutherfordton, they specifically told FEMA workers to avoid houses that had a particular
Yep.
MAGA
Mm-hmm.
flag,
Yep.
anything of the sort. We stopped that immediately and demanded that that person be held accountable. Because when it comes to people's lives, I don't care which side of the aisle you sit on. I don't care at all. You are a human being who just went through something insanely traumatic,
Mm-hmm.
and you deserve help. It should not be contingent upon who you voted for. It should not be
Right.
contingent upon where you live. It should not be contingent upon your socioeconomic status. It should be contingent upon the fact that you are a person that needs help first and foremost. That's
Absolutely.
where my heart is. And the thing that really, really gives me such hope, it is a observed phenomenon that after disasters, people have a sense of altruism and camaraderie that comes out of it. And it doesn't just go away at the next, vote or,
Right.
next cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It stays. And we are still seeing that 18 months later. It gives me goosebumps every time that I think about it. We showed the world who we are. We showed the world what camaraderie looks like, what standing up in the face of adversity looks like. And if that's not providence, if that's not inspiring, I don't know what is.
Oh, look at that. Oh, thank you. You got so sweet. Ayana, how are you?
I am well, Sianca. How are you?
I'm good. I want to introduce you to my new friend, Zelda. Zelda, this is Ayana.
Hi,
Hi,
Zelda. How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Okay.
We had a bipartisan forum that happened earlier today that was held by one of the Pride communities
Mm-hmm.
in our area, as well as the NAACP. And I am very grateful that we were able to do that, because it's not often that we have nonpartisan forums where people
Right.
can hear across the spectrum what's going on. I sat next to a man who is a member of the Libertarian Party. The Libertarian Party, as it once was, not what it has become. He very much came across as someone who wanted to see individual freedoms being honored, to actually see life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for every single person, and that the rule of law and our Constitution be upheld for every single person, not just contingent upon what the color of your skin is. And we had some really good conversations afterwards. And if I'm able to have a conversation with someone about that, if I'm able to have a conversation with someone who has been a part of supremacist G unit groups, I can have a conversation.
I'm taking that.
I can have a
Supremacist
conversation with.
Jews.
I'm going off of what you gave me.
Thank you. Miss Ayana has a question for you, Miss Zelda.
Let's
Actually,
do it.
if I may be allowed 2 questions, Miss Sianca.
Yes.
I'll allow it.
I've paid the tax. I have paid the tax.
Okay. You paid
Okay.
attention. You can go ahead and speak.
Okay. First question. Dang. No. Okay. Your governor was mentioned today at a hearing on Capitol Hill. About one of the representatives mentioned that the state that he is from, he's from North Carolina, the governor declined the president's invitation to have National Guard troops sent to the state to, I guess, improve the streets of certain cities, like maybe Charlotte or so, or whatever other blue cities he can think of that that have a violence problem.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Congress and the president working in cahoots to try and usurp the power of a governor? Essentially, what they're trying to do is bully
Mm-hmm.
or shame him into saying, hey, you know what? It's the Fed. I'm just, whatever. Just come on into my state and do whatever you want. What do you think about that?
I think that he was very future sighted, because let's look at what's happening in some of the other states. Let's look at what's happening over in Minnesota. A natural disaster very often can be used as a means of imposing martial law. And that's not us here, y'all. We keep us safe. And yes, that is a sentiment that is definitely said among queer spaces, among BIPOC, but it also speaks to the people in the mountains. We work together in order to make sure all of us are taken care of. So having the National Guard coming on in and, not listening to not only what our governor said, but what the people said, I think it is a slap in the face to how democracy is supposed to work. And
Yeah.
I also think it is very much disregarding states' rights, which is something that the current administration used to stand by, at least allegedly.
Yep.
And
Quote, unquote.
tonight the House passed the SAVE Act, right?
Oof.
Which would bring additional, if it was passed into law, eroding the rights of states to determine how they run their elections. And that's in the Constitution. How they run states run elections, period. And if, anyway, I won't go on and on about that. My second question is, North Carolina recently decided to not allow college campuses to be the site of.
Yep.
Mm.
Especially HBCUs.
I really wish you could see my face right now.
I think that's the reason why your camera's not working, Miss Ella, because I'm doing the faces for you.
What? How do you see this as affecting people's ability to vote in your state?
It's suppression, plain and simple.
Okay.
I think it's worth mentioning that the money for those sites was already allocated.
Oh, wow.
They decided to close them because our General Assembly decided to listen to the federal government and pass a bunch of blatantly suppressing laws aimed at disenfranchising the people of Western North Carolina. In this particular one, college-age students.
Yeah.
I went on over to Western Carolina University and had a phenomenal time talking with the students there. And when I heard that the appeal about this did not get approved, now there's still a chance that they could go a bit higher. When it did not get approved, the first thing that I did was I reached on out to my contact over at Western Carolina University and said, how can we help? How can we support y'all? And we made sure that not only was the university going to be providing transportation Monday through Friday to get to the locations, on Saturdays, they were going to be working with the Transylvania Democratic Party as well as District 11 Democratic Party to provide transportation.
Oh, that's wonderful. Because I was just about to ask what y'all gonna do about it.
On top of that, we opted to not do any yard signs. And when a lot of people hear that, they're like, how are you advertising? But with how much damage happened from Helene, we didn't want to add to the carbon footprints. So rather than spending money on those things, we have funds ready to go so that way we can provide transportation to the polls if
That's
people need it.
wonderful.
That's where the money should be going. I would much rather work with less and have it have a positive impact than plastering my name all over Western North Carolina.
Wow, Zelda, that is very inspiring. I'm in Ohio, so I cannot help you with anything except for maybe giving you $20 for your campaign, but I can't do anything else. If I could vote for you, I would. But I really like that you have a solution.
Yes.
The last person I asked this question, they had no solution. And that was sad to me, because you got to have, when you run for office, you got to have things ready to go.
Right.
I appreciate that. And I thank you so much for whatever contribution you make. I appreciate any of that. At the end of the day, every single penny that we have earned has been well earned. We have not taken any money from corporations, super PACs, lobbyists. It has strictly come from the people. 86% of it coming from the people of Western North Carolina.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I see, yes, we have less money than some of my opponents, but it's not about necessarily how much money you raise. It's how you spend it and how you show up.
Correct.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Zelda, and thank you, Sianca.
Thank you,
Thank
Miss
you,
Ayana.
Go ahead and drop me, honey.
I will. Yeah, wow, I am speechless, and I wish you were here with Mitch Colvin, who is also the mayor of Fayetteville. You know, I'm not in Fayetteville, but you know. But going back to the signs.
Sure.
With this is like a follow-up question with the natural disasters, because I heard about that, and being a female as a person of color, when she see that, and I get it too, when I see that other opposite side of the sign, PTSD happens. And then on their side, from their point, I see you and I know who you represent, so I'm gonna get my pew pew. And I'm a, and it's like, dude, we are trying to, help you, and do you think it just went like sideways with the signs? Like, I get it that's who you can represent, whoever you want to represent, fine. But it shouldn't be a threat on either side. Do you agree? Especially when you come down to getting help.
Yeah. I think voter suppression, plain and simple, is there only to disenfranchise the people. I think that there is no reason that we should be accepting gerrymandering to the extent of which of what we have. And honestly, when it came to the appeal, we were very much surprised to find that that person decided not to vote in favor of young Americans, of our college university people.
Yes.
It speaks volumes.
Yes.
That when you do something like that, on top of everything else that's going on top of the damage that's been done, one of the phrases that sticks with me, Chief Seattle said, "We do not simply inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children." And every single day, we are borrowing more and more with no sight of actually paying it back. So, yes, at the end of the day, having signs would be phenomenal. But if you're afraid of the voting people voicing their constitutional right on who they want to represent them, you're on the wrong side of history.
Absolutely. And it's like also for safety issues, because now we're hearing there are some candidates who are running, they can't even do no door to door because who you representing? And it's like, since when it become a G unit thing, you know, like I said, you can vote however you want to vote, but since when it becomes a G unit thing on either side, not just, you know, one, but on either side, you know, and it's really sad. And to the HBCU people, and I know we're going off topic a little bit, but I know from the issues that they had went through, like the school pewings, and they done went from high school all up to college. So they're like, oh wow, we got to stop that generation. We got to suppress them because they know what happened to them. You know, do you agree with that, or am I seeing something different here?
No, I agree with you. It makes me sick to my stomach. And unfortunately, it's not the first time that our government has done this. Let's look at Kent State.
Yes.
They used their voice. And pewing happened. And a lot of people were unalived. We have had to learn these things the hard way over and over and over again because we don't know where we came from.
Right.
I am against all aspects of voter suppression. And I'll make it very clear right now, I do not care on which side of the aisle you are. If you are going to be suppressing what democracy is supposed to be in our country, I am going to hold you accountable. And that includes also with a specific list that is getting a lot of media attention these days. I do not care at all which side of the aisle you find yourself on. If you do that to children, you need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
Clock it in the chat, please. Snaps and clock it in the chat. Ms. Zelda and Sister Syrupes.
Macklemore, you're right. It happened in California too.
Yep, it happened in California. Yes. So we're going to move on to education, which is one of my favorites. So we're going to go further into it. So many students in the district rely on free or reduced price lunches. And school access to broadband and technology still varies widely. What federal investments would you prioritize to ensure students here have the same educational opportunities as those in urban areas? Now, once again, people, they live in a mountain area, so they need these things.
I do not think that any person's education should be contingent upon their zip code. And if we even brought it down to a district level, if we have someone that, you know, was up in Highlands and moved over to Newland, they're going to get a different education system. And that doesn't make sense to me. If we look at places like Finland very much squashed private oh my gosh, let me make sure I'm getting this correct, because I'm not in the business of providing misinformation or disinformation.
And thank you.
They squashed for-profit education systems, and what ended up happening there is when the rich have their kids going to the same schools as those who are poor, they are more inclined to invest in those school systems because their children are exposed to the exact same level of communication or education as everyone else. And they have a higher level of graduation rate from high school. They do better on scores. They have more people going on into higher education. I support providing free school meals for all students. I support, especially when we look at rural communities, making sure that just as we talked about telehealth, we also talked about virtual learning spaces.
Yes.
One of the ones that we are currently, I don't want to say workshopping, but we're talking to people about to get their opinions on is
Right.
making sure that students who happen to live in very mountainous rural areas could not necessarily have to go 2 hours to a public school, but be able to utilize a community center with a surrogate teacher that is able to act there and support the students. So that way they don't have to travel the 2 hours and get bused into a completely different county in order to get the education that they need.
So being like a remote site.
Indeed.
Okay.
And a informed electorate is the strongest, I know I said this before, but an informed electorate is the strongest defense that we have towards the dismantling of our country and our democracy. When we prioritize that, we are setting up the younger generation up for success. We are making sure that they have the life skills necessary in order to be able to have things like critical thinking, pay your taxes, know what it's like to get a job, know what it's like to unionize your job, know what it's like to buy a house, know what it's like to look for a better job, know when your employer is taking you for a ride. When we value those things, especially critical thinking skills, we've seen the best of our country. Let's look at the 60s. That was some of the best social safety nets that we have had in our country before it was gutted in the 80s. Now, we had a lot of problems in the 60s, especially when we come to things like civil rights movement. I am not going to sit here and,
Right.
paint a rosy, picture of how
Thank you for
perfect it
doing
was.
that.
Oh my gosh, no. But when we actually took care of people, when we provided a minimum wage that allowed a family of 4 to comfortably live with enough money to have a house and an automobile and take vacations, we got our parents.
Yep.
And it breaks my heart when I see that generation talking about how the work ethic isn't there anymore, that we need to pull ourselves up by their bootstraps, not recognizing just honestly how good they have it, and not recognizing how drastically different it is today, how little the value of a dollar actually is.
Right.
How many people are living paycheck to paycheck, how much our social safety nets have just been slashed and gutted in the name of conserving our national debt, when it's not really about that at all.
Right. Absolutely. And another question to be like I can do it. I love the remote site plan. And I'm gonna add a little question to that if that's going to entangle with this. So several counties in Western North Carolina face persistent teacher shortages, and nationally, nearly 1 in 4 teachers leave the profession within 5 years, and this is like all over. So you've highlighted the need to look at other countries' educational systems. What do you think we can learn from them to retain teachers, especially in rural areas? And the second part is, with the remote sites, do you think that will be another open door where the teachers who did home their coats up will come back? Like, Do you think that's possible?
The
So the first
teachers
question
that I
is, what
have,
do you think? I'm gonna go with the first question. So what do you
okay,
think we can learn from them to retain teachers, especially in rural areas? And then we go to the second question after that.
sure, pay them more. Plain and
Absolutely.
simple. Let's look at the paramilitary group that is currently terrorizing our country.
Mm,
They promised $50,000 in sign-on bonuses.
mm-hmm. Yep.
That tells me that it wasn't really about we can't afford to pay our teachers more.
Right.
It tells me it's more about we don't want you to be educated because it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to control someone who does not know things. And let me also be clear, you are allowed to not know things. No one is expecting anyone to be a walking,
Right.
talking Wikipedia. The question becomes, what do you do when you realize that you don't know something and that there's an opportunity for growth?
Mm-hmm.
Pay teachers a living wage. Pay everyone a living wage. The teachers that I have spoken with, the teachers that I have worked with, they don't leave because they don't like teaching. They
Right.
leave because the conditions are abhorrent,
Mm-hmm.
because they are now being bombarded by parents over the smallest of things,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
because of a ideology that is supposedly being forced upon our children, which is far from the truth.
Yes.
So pay teachers more, support unions. They
I am
do
so upset
a
you over there. You need to come over here.
well, that's the good news about running for a federal office is, yes, I am responsible for representing constituents here in Western North Carolina. But it's
Yes.
not like what we've talked about today is specific only to Western North Carolina.
Right. Absolutely. And to that second point, with the remote site, do you think that would be do you think that would boost up the teacher, I don't want to say morale because they already have morale, but
Hmm.
motivate them to get back into teaching? Like, okay, there's a remote site where I ain't got to travel this far, and then give me incentive and things of that nature. Do you think that would like boom it up a bit?
I do. I know a lot of teachers who aren't able to afford to live in the school district that they work in, and they have to travel hours.
Hmm.
Having the opportunity to, be there and support your community in your hometown, it makes a difference. And I
Yes.
will also name that there are a lot of teachers who opt to do that so that way, for safety reasons, and so that way their kids aren't necessarily in the same milieu as
Right.
who they're teaching. I do recognize that. But
Hmm.
when we have those remote sites, the ratio of teachers to students is going to be a lot more beneficial than what it would be when we have 1 to 20 to 1 to 30. It
Right.
allows you to give a much more personalized teaching experience that is catered to the individual rather than having to focus on things like test scores. When you're able to be there for students and have a small setting to do that, you're
Hmm.
able to provide more instruction, more
Right.
hands on approaches, more specifically tailored aspects of teaching. So,
Right.
yes, I do think that it would be beneficial across the board, not only from a accessibility standpoint, but also from a teacher morale standpoint.
Absolutely. And I hope that goes through. I hope you get I got that feeling you're gonna be elected. And I want to be the first one to see the remote sites when this gets built as well. We're gonna take a break from the questions a bit. We're gonna do like a little rapid fire type thing.
Hmm.
So hope you check your pulse a little bit because it's gonna be like a yes or no, a quick question type thing.
Sounds good?
Okay. Raise the minimum wage, yes or no?
Yes.
Should North Carolina should North Carolina eliminate the state income tax? Yes or no?
I'm going to go with no. I have lived in a state that did not have income tax, Tennessee, and I think it could have benefited from having one. I will also say that that is not something that I've actually had the opportunity to talk to my constituents about specifically. So I'm going to say no,
Okay.
and let you know that, I do not have enough information for my constituents to make an informed decision on their behalf.
Cool, because North Carolina tax you for everything for me.
I mean, personally, paying your taxes is one of the most American things that you can do, assuming that you actually have a say on where your taxes are going.
Yeah.
Just like voting is, but What's the next one?
Should the state step in to regulate utility rate hikes?
Yes.
Good answer. You got my vote on that one. Alrighty, so we already said increase teacher pay. We already said that. Are parents the primary decision makers in curriculum issues? Yes or no?
Are parents the ones that have the teaching degrees?
Oh.
Look,
I just want to do that.
These are parents. Parents have an important role in being there for their children when it comes to growing them up and providing them the opportunity for growth. And not every parent is informed on every single issue to the point where they can make those informed decisions. Furthermore, we also have an issue with a lot of misinformation and disinformation that is going on in our country right now. Yes, I would love to say that every single parent is going to act in their child's best interest, but we all know that that's not going to be the case.
Right.
And furthermore, it really doesn't matter if you want to sit there and limit what kind of books your child is going to read. They're going to get access to that information anyways. I know I did.
Absolutely.
Their friends are going to give them access to that information anyways. They're going to learn about it no matter what. So
especially
either you can do it in a structured area where they can ask those questions, or you can suppress them and then they have to learn these things the hard way and realize that you were not, as their parent, acting in their best interests. I know you said quick yes or no answers, but that's not one that I can give a quick yes or no answer to.
You good. You passed. So now we're going to go on to economy, which I love in a sense. You talk about the profit margins being made by U.S. publicly traded companies being a problem for our society. So what policies will you put forth to make sure companies are not putting profit over people?
Prioritize union rights and labor rights. Increase the federal minimum wage. Actually go after corporate price gouging and tax the rich.
Yes. Great answer. So the Western North Carolina's economy relies heavily on tourism. I'm telling you guys, if you've never been on the west side
come on down, y'all.
North Carolina, you need to go. It is beautiful over there.
We're a temperate rainforest.
Yeah.
We have a rainforest here in the United States, y'all. You can come and see it. We have such flora and fauna, such biodiversity.
Especially in the fall when the leaves shit. Oh my gosh. You think you're in a movie. It is beautiful over there. So Western North Carolina's, yes, Asheville, yes, Macklemore, yes. Okay, so Western North Carolina's economy relies heavily on tourism, small businesses, and service jobs. Yet median household income in the districts is around $63,000, give or take, below the national average. So how would you work in Congress to raise wages and economic stability for working families there?
I think we can look at other states like Washington and Oregon who have raised the minimum wage there to a living wage. It can't just be immediately
Right.
go from 725 to 20 plus. That will have an impact. As much as I would love for us to be able to go ahead and do it straight to that,
Yes.
we need to make sure that it is gradually introduced and then pegged to the consumer price index, inflation rates, so that way we don't have to constantly be increasing it or waiting for a Congress to finally get off their hands and do the right thing for the people.
Absolutely. Thank you. And yes, it's going to be a process where it can be. I see in some states, some of it's like $21, some of it's like $15. And I'm like, come on.
When we first started doing our community-centered campaign, people were advocating for a $15 to $17 minimum wage here in Western North Carolina. Since then, it's gone up to 20. And we make sure that anytime that we see a substantial increase or change in our platform, that we tell people this is what it was, this is what it is, this is the reason why it is now. And the two big ones besides, the other one besides minimum wage was universal health care. People were very apprehensive on having a single paying healthcare system.
Right.
And then with everything that's happened, people are realizing that the insurance companies are taking advantage of them.
Yes.
Hospital prices have gone up 273% across the country since 2000.
Yes.
It's extortion for people that are trying to live.
And that's what people are just trying to live healthy, to see their kid, take care of their family, see the kids grow, enjoy life, and you want to take that away from them. Like, come on, that's just crazy. We're gonna go on.
We can't call ourselves the greatest country in the world if we're doing that.
Exactly, which is so mind-boggling to me. It's so confusing. We're gonna go to constitutional rights.
All right.
So the Supreme Court's ruled in 2015 the same sign marriage, something like that, are legal under the 14th Amendment in 2022. That law was partially codified. Therefore, there is still fear of it being overturned. When in Congress, how will you fortify this right so future generations never have to worry about it? So same sex marriage is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You can't say
I think for that to happen, we need a constitutional convention, and that's just one of several things that need to be added to our constitution. We also need to recognize the fact that the founding fathers didn't anticipate for us to have the exact same constitution for 250 years. It was meant to be a living document. It was also meant to be reforged. Most other countries have gone through multiple iterations of their constitution at this point. We keep adding things to it, but I do think that we are at a point where we're at a reckoning where we can't just add things to it when we got ourselves in this situation in the first place.
Yes.
We need to fix what's wrong, and that very likely requires a constitutional convention. In the meantime, I do think that we need to enact it into law that anyone can get married. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to, because it's a religious institution. Like, okay, then don't get married with someone of the same sex. You can build a bridge and get over it. Like, just let other people be. Let other people be happy. It has no impact on your life unless you let it.
Exactly. And it's
all
so
of
crazy.
that, Macamal, all of that.
Right. And it's so crazy that people have that mindset, and yet they're pew-pewing people. They're doing stuff that's obscene, but when they see a same person marrying a same person, you can't do that. Well, you can't pew pew people either, downright. So
Another person simply existing does absolutely nothing to you unless you let it.
right.
And if we're going to talk about constitutional rights, I believe in life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for every single person that lives here in our country.
Right.
And that means pursuit of happiness is what is going to provide them a life that is happy, joyous, and free. As long as you are not infringing on another person's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, I'm not going to come up and like enter your house and tell you how to live in your
Right.
house or like what you need to do in your bedroom. You're not
Right.
hurting anyone. You are simply just trying to live a life that is happy, joyous, and free. And if you are not infringing on another person's, I'm not going to have much of an issue with that because that's what it means to be an American.
Absolutely. Oh, I wish you was here. Okay, one last question on constitutional rights. We've been going to head on into the fun stuff. So the current administration has been pushing the boundaries of our Constitution, including the First Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and the 10th Amendment. When in Congress, how do you plan to strengthen these rights and make sure no one can infringe upon them? So we know about the First Amendment, like freedom of speech. And I'm gonna look up Fifth and 10th Amendment, but you can answer the first one.
So this is one that we are still talking with voters about. And I consider myself a progressive candidate. This is one of the ones where we're still trying to figure out how we make it so that way we don't end up in this situation again. And without drastically changing the way that our government works, whether it be adding additional agencies, adding additional branches of government, it ultimately falls upon the people to elect people that are actually going to be able to represent them, that want to be held accountable, and make sure that these people step down when they aren't being genuine and honest. I think we need to have a real conversation about term limits. I think we need to have a real conversation about capacity to serve for older generations. I think we need to have a conversation in regards to accountability for all branches of government. And I think that we very much need to have a conversation. How do I want to put this? We'll call it ranked choice voting,
Okay.
with expanding beyond a two-party system, and getting money out of politics. So that way we don't have 6 major corporations controlling all of the mainstream news. People get these misconceived notions on exactly what is happening here in our country because of what they're being told from elected officials, from news sources, from podcasters, from YouTubers, from TikTokers, when in fact, let me put it this way. When I was in high school, if I used one source to write a paper, I would have gotten an F. Because one source is not enough to be able to write a paper on. I had to have a diverse portfolio and bibliography of where I got my information from. When people rely on one singular outlet for their news, they are naturally pigeonholing themselves and are keeping themselves from asking the hard questions. As much as I don't like having to do this, I pop onto news sources that I would not normally get my news sources from, because I have to know what is being said on
Right.
other platforms.
Right.
So I know that that was kind of a non-answer, and I will own that. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we are electing people who want to be held accountable. We have to consider things like votes of no confidence. And we have to make sure that when we have branches of government that are not following things like the Constitution and the rule of law, that we do something about it. Let's look at the Declaration of Independence.
Mhm.
It is our right, it is our duty to stand up against tyranny and a government that seeks to oppress the people. We are a nation built entirely upon, quote unquote, sticking it to the man. And we forgot that. We've become complacent. And
Yes.
it is awful that we are finding ourselves in this situation. But democracy doesn't take care of itself. We are the stewards of our democracy and of our country. We have to take care of it. Eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. And once we start actually embodying that, every single one of us, then we can start getting ourselves out of this mess and making sure that we are not in it to it again.
Absolutely. Well said. So if people that want to know, the First Amendment, of course, is protect the freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. The Fifth Amendment is provide protections for citizens accused of crime, including protection against double jeopardy, self-incrimination and loss of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. And the 10th Amendment is reserves power not granted to the federal government, to the states, or the people. So those are the amendments that that we were talking about, that we wanted to ask you about. And just in case the people in the chat didn't know what that was, I gave you some cool stuff to look at. I'm gonna look at it myself, even thorough. All right, so we're gonna go straight to the fun rapid fire one real quick, and then we're gonna go to the closing session. Oh, I just wish she was down here. All righty, ready? Coffee or sweet tea?
Coffee.
Okay, all right. Bojangles or cookout?
It's bow time.
Mountains or beach?
Mountains. I love rock climbing.
I bet. It's so beautiful out there, y'all. Y'all gotta go out there and see it yourself. College basketball or NFL?
College basketball, specifically women's.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Neither?
I
like my sleep. I mean, these days it's both.
Right.
But I like my sleep.
I hear you. Macklemore, I know. No cookout, I know. But she's fine with the rest of it. She's good. Let me see. Barbecue, vinegar or tomato based?
Vinegar.
Oh my
and
gosh,
occasionally mustard.
So Miss Nikki says UNC or NC State?
I went to University of South Carolina, so I'm going to give that answer.
All righty. Thank you for answering those questions. We're going to do the closing questions. If voters in Western North Carolina were looking back after your first term, what is one meaningful change you would want them to say improve their quality of life?
That I actually embodied what it means to be a public servant, that I'm not in this for power or profit or personal gain, that they felt like they could actually ask me hard questions, that they could tell me about their life and it wasn't going to get dismissed, that I'm a human being and I see them as a human being, not a vote.
Awesome. And many residents there feel overlooked by Washington. How would you make sure people in small towns and rural counties across NC 11 feel heard, represented, and respected?
a part of coming back after a legislative session is making sure that I travel the district as I have been and talking with the people and doing town halls. That's something that we are seeing less and less of, especially in our more red districts. What they're doing instead are these virtual town halls where the questions are already pre-approved and decided by beforehand. I want to have in-person town halls frequently in all of our counties because my loyalty is not to any party. It's to the people of Western North Carolina. And every single day I need to show that, because when I start getting complacent, that's when they're going to need to go ahead and get me out of office.
Absolutely. And last question, what would you say to a voter who agrees with your values but feels discouraged that the federal government can still deliver real results for communities like yours?
After Helene, we showed this country who we are. We are going to show them how we do it. We are going to show them that America is the people. It is not the corporations. It is not the wealthy. It is the people who decide it. And I get it. I get why you feel discouraged. There are times where I do too. But I'll be darned if they're going to have to pry it from my unalived hands.
Oh my gosh, I just wish you were here.
I got to tell you, it's going to be very difficult for me to convince my wife to move anywhere from here.
I know, but she can share. Sharing is caring.
That's fair.
But thank you, Ms. Zelda, for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Any final words? What's your message to voters as we head on towards election day? When is the election? When is the main event in your area?
Early voting starts tomorrow. Early voting starts tomorrow. The actual primary happens on March 3rd.
Okay.
The last thing that I want to let y'all know is hold every single person accountable, including yourself. We cannot allow ourselves to become complacent just because life got easy for us. When we don't take care of each other, they pick at us one by one by one until there's nothing left. Stand up now. Stand up for your life, the life of those around you, the life of the people that you love, even the people that you hate. Because that's the only way we're going to get through this, y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming again. So is there like a campaign website?
Yeah.
Social media things you want to share with the audience so they can contribute to your campaign? And people, ladies and gentlemen, she said early voting is now. Do the early voting. Don't wait too late. Ms. Zelda.
It's the most powerful thing that you can do is vote and make your voice be heard. Our website is zeldaforcongress.org. You're going to find us on most social medias. We have a Blue Sky. It's Zelda Briarwood.bsky.social. You'll find us at Zelda for Congress, both over on Facebook as well as LinkedIn and Instagram. Zelda for Congress at TikTok. What else am I missing? Oh, I'm also on Reddit. Username Zelda Briarwood. I often check on our local communities through means of Reddit. I will be, last thing I'll say, I swore off on social media when I was in college because of how it was negatively affecting me. I am so grateful that I am in a much better position now to actually close guard my health to the point where I can actually interact, and I am able to not take everything personally. Feedback is a gift. If you have feedback for me, send it on over. I'm honored that you would take the time to let me know.
Well, you know what my feedback will be. I wish you were over here on the Rafer side. Thank you so much, Ms. Zelda. Ms. Zelda Briarwood. Put a clap in the hand emoji in there in the chat. I'm going to invite, we're going to invite you again because we have more town halls, if you're not busy, that's coming up later. Let me see, when is our next one? We have Diop Harris.
All right.
He's in Michigan and he is also House Representative. He will be here the 12th at 6 p.m. At 6 p.m. And he is in District 4. Yes, he's in District 4, House Representative in Michigan. So that's going to be awesome. He's a young man. I can't wait to hear his take on things that he's going to do. And I'm also going to personally invite you to a round table that we're going to have on February 15th and March 1st of this year at 3 p.m. So OVC is going to send you a personal invite to come in and you're going to talk amongst other people who are joining the fight to get democracy back on board, back on track the way it's supposed to be. So I've been to one and it is amazing to hear the mindset of these candidates and hearing the engagement of the chat and people coming up asking questions and challenging them on what specific entities they're going to improve or try to reform and things of that nature. So we personally invite you to come to that because your voice is very powerful. I really enjoyed myself. I wish we can last even longer, which we did, but I thank you so much, Ms. Zelda, for coming out.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been phenomenal. I very much appreciate this opportunity. Regardless of any technical difficulties, I think this went phenomenally. I'm so grateful for the interaction, for the hard-hitting questions. I'm looking forward to being on here again, y'all.
And please let us know the result. We're going to be watching too. We're going to be watching, but please let us know what the end result be. No matter what, just let us know. Okay.
I can do that.
So we can stay in the forefront. So our vote counts. We thank you so much for hosting. We thank you, chat. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the follows. Continue follow this young lady right here, Ms. Zelda. Go visit her site. Follow her, encourage her, donate to her campaign. I know I am because she got me revved up. So our vote counts, a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity like Ms. Zelda right here, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So continue to join us, people. Continue to join this ride. And remember, your vote is your power. Thank you so much, Ms. Zelda. Once again, OVC, the chat, everybody, OVC staff, everybody. You have a good night.
Y'all, have a good evening. Be safe. We're going to get through this.